Hey everybody, welcome back to another video, and today I'm going to be talking about 5 things that are wrong with your aim. Now there's a lot of things that are probably wrong with your aim, so narrowing it down to 5 was a bit difficult, but I also wanted to try to talk about things that you may not have thought about or you may not have realized that you are doing. So let's jump into it. So the first thing that you're doing wrong with your aim is not being able to hit your flicks consistently. Now I'm not talking about hitting an op flick, right? I'm talking about hitting a rifle flick. Being able to flick over to the heads of people consistently, right? Not being able to do that is probably the most detrimental thing to your gameplay right now. The reason why you go into an aimbots, the reason why you go into a deathmatch is to try to practice reaction shots, right? Trying to practice holding an angle and then seeing a guy come out of some other spot and going over and flicking to his head, right? It's not good if you're holding an angle, some guy comes out and you do one of those. You don't want to do that. You have to be able to hit those flicks. You have to be confident in your aim, in your crosshair, right? You have to be confident in every single part of your setup. Whether it's your sensitivity, your mouse, how that feels, your mouse pad, right? You have to have that kind of confidence, that kind of just expectation that, yeah, if somebody does swing out, I can easily get that kill, right? It needs to be a mindless thing that you can just do. You don't want to have to concentrate so hard on, oh, well, I got to practice, in case there's a guy coming out. No, you just want to be able to hit that if they do. And deathmatch simulates a real game scenario, so you do have people coming out from weird angles, and they do have real person movement. When it comes to aimbots, they all have bot movement where they're going back and forth, right? So it's not something that's really simulating in-game things, but it's nice to work on for your flicks. It's the most important part of your gameplay. The second thing that is wrong with your aim is your crutch. All right. Now your crutch, I'm not talking about the op. Once again, not talking about the op, but crutching. All right. That means what's assisting you in getting these kills. What are you falling back on every single time to get these kills? Is it that you're very not comfortable with your spray, and so you're going for taps every time you see somebody and hoping that you can get to the head, right? I'm purposely shooting at their chests, by the way. I'm not and that's not me, I'm not trying to, I can go ahead and shoot at all their heads, but I'm purposely shooting at their chests to show that I'm a bad player and I'm not confident in my spray to spray them down, so I'm going to go for taps. I'm not really going to try to control anything, and I'm just going to go, I'm sure that every one of you have seen some sort of silver going for one of these, right? Instead of just going for the normal spray down. It's because they're not confident in their spray. And then there's vice versa. Are you really confident in your spray, or you're just really not confident in your taps or being able to hit the heads? So every time you see somebody, you dedicate it the full 30 bullets to them, right? And you just need to get that spray down. It's never well, you're always hitting those 4 bullet sprays, those, 4 body shot hits. You're not really getting the headshots on them. You're just going for the straight body shots. It's a horrible habit, right? You want to try to find the middle ground and know when to do both, right? There's no you should only spray, you should only tap, right? You should probably spray more often than you're tapping, but there are certain situations where you should be doing both, interchangeable, You have to be ready at any given point to switch from going from the spray to the straight taps, going back to the spray, going to the taps, going to the spray, going to the taps. You get my point. The third thing that's wrong with your aim is you have really bad habits in DM, right? You kind of just find an area, and then you just sit here and you camp, and you camp, and then you camp, and then you camp, right? You're just waiting for them to walk into your crosshair. You die, you find a new spot to camp, right? You kill this guy if he swings out again, or you just whiff the spray entirely, right? You find an area, you sit there, you camp. Instead of, what you're supposed to do, which is move around the map fluidly, try to... I couldn't really move there, I died. But get out of the spots that you spawn in, right? Try to find people, try to get some kills. This is a good spot to show. So I could just sit in apps here and try to camp it, but no, I'm going to try to take different fights so I can continue pushing, some guy up here, just testing out different angles instead of just staying in the same spot. you actually want to try to move around. This also goes hand in hand with the last thing that we were talking about, which is crutch spraying or crutch tapping, right? You want to try to, in this situation, in DM where nothing really matters, you want to try to mix up and practice the things that you're bad at. So for example, I'm kind of bad at tapping. I'm probably a crutch sprayer, if anything. So I'm going to try to work on my taps. So for example, I'm going to limit myself and say I'm not allowed to go for any sort of sprays. I'm only allowed to go for tap headshots. And as you can see, I'm kind of bad at it because I don't practice it that much. But it's one of those things that the more you do it, the more often you do it, you know, the better that you're going to get at it. The fourth thing that's wrong with your aim is that you're only an awper, right? You watched a couple Kenny S demos, you watched some JW highlights, you go, no, I don't need to rifle. I cannot. You know what I thought back in the day? Well, one, I would only op as well, so I get the whole point of view from it, right? Oh, I'm a great opper. But you know what I thought? I thought that I was so good at opping compared to rifling that, you know what, my reaction time is so good that I could probably take a pro one-on-one. That's what I thought when I was like silver fucking 4. I could not take a pro one-on-one. Spoiler alert, right? You're never that good of a player if you only use the op, if you're like gold Nova 3 and you only use the op in your pugs, right? You're not a good player. You're just using a gun that's a one-hit kill that people are going to swing into you so you can get easy peasy kills. Oh, I got a 4K with the op. They probably handed it to you, right? You play at a higher level, they will have so much better positioning. They will be expecting you. They will be flashing into you. They'll be throwing smokes, countering you. You're not an opper, all right? Until you can do it at a very high level consistently, work on your rifles, right? Rifles are what gets you places in Counter-Strike. If you want to rank up, you have to be good at rifles. You can't just be an opper. There's very, 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 very few exceptions to that kind of rule, right? You always want to have good rifling, just good general aim. You can't just always go for the body shots and count on the long-range scope. Like, come on. You're better than that. And finally, the fifth thing that is wrong with your aim is that you're either pre-aiming everything or pre-aiming nothing. There's a sweet spot in between, right? So, for example, pre-aiming everything, you know, this is fine and all, but you have to realize the situation in the round, the time left, right? And understand that maybe some people couldn't be in these spots that you're clearing out. For example, if I'm going A ramp right at the start, there is no reason for me to swing out like this and clear this angle. Yes, it's a commonly played angle. People can push into ramp and play it. But if I'm getting here right at the start of the round, they can't be here. So why am I clearing it, right? You're using effort unnecessarily when it could be applied to other things, right? Or you just don't have the confidence to go, I know that there's a guy CT, so I'm just going to swing out and kill him. You're playing way too cautious, right? You're waiting for somebody to swing. You're peeking into every angle. There are certain situations where you want to do that, and there's certain situations where you don't want to do that. And then you have the player that's not going to pre-aim anything, right? Who's just going to run out and just try to hit the reaction shot that we talked about, right? It's not really going to have good crosshair placement. It's just going to wait until somebody jumps on their screen, and then they're going to shoot. There's no positioning thought. There's no like, maybe I should peek it like this in case there's a person there. There's none of those thoughts are going through anybody's head, right? It's just, I'm going to go this way. I'm going to take this map control. Oh, person. Got him. All right, here we are. Next. I don't see anybody. Oh, there's a guy right there. Next. There's no thoughts. There's no, hey, maybe I should jiggle this, and oh, there's nobody there. Maybe I should flash into it or something, right? Do something so I can get maybe a little bit of an advantage first. They're just not thinking about it. So that is the 5 things, or those are the 5 things that are wrong with your aim. I'm sure that there's more. Trust me, I'm sure that there's more.